The 10 relationship traps. Trap number 4. Everything around us is pretty much superficial. And I mean everything. Everything we engage in, everything we watch, what entertains us, who we have conversations with, what we have conversations about. Everything is superficial. Now, why is everything superficial? Because no one's doing anything in a way that's in-depth. People tend to just regurgitate what they heard. There's no feeling or any real sense of self behind it. Usually you're saying one thing to impress another, or you're just saying whatever necessary to get you to the next place you want to get. Like if you're a woman trying to get with a man, if you're a man trying to get with a woman, no one's coming from a place that's pure. Everyone seems to be coming from a place that's impure. When you get in a relationship, it's easy to get caught up in the superficial because what you're usually doing is just trying to placate the other person, but none of this is actually about peace. None of this is about happiness. You think it is, but once you get in a relationship, you're just getting caught up with routines. Routines such as going to the movies, you got to run errands together, or you got to go to work separately, of course. You have to deal with the kids if you have kids. You're going to visit family, family's coming over to visit you. Everything just becomes about routine. And all these routines are superficial. These routines are superficial because everything you're involved in, the intent is peace, but you're getting no closer to peace. And everything you express or what you showcase when you're involved in these routines is not coming from a real place. It's just coming from a place of what you've been programmed to do, what you've been taught. You know, if you're stressed about one situation, you're stressed about that situation because you were taught to be stressed about that situation. It may not be how you feel. Sometimes you're involved with things that you have no idea of why you're doing them, but you're involved because this seems like the safe thing to do, the safe thing to be involved in. If you're gonna be part of a family reunion, you're doing the family reunion because it's gonna placate a lot of people. You're there so everybody could say you're there and they're happy to see you there. You may be there to see a relative, but you're often going to a family reunion. If you're not doing it just to placate the people there, you're doing it to escape the reality at home because the reality at home is dull. See, when you get caught up in the superficial, which happens in relationships, you just get stuck in a pattern of doing one thing after another because that's just the routine of a relationship. A relationship isn't about coming together and actually being at peace. You just come together and get involved in routines. The high of a relationship, the beginning 6 months or so of a relationship, is the closest you ever get to peace. After that, it's just superficial stuff. Even when it comes to the conversations that you have conversations with your woman, you have conversations with your man, and it's just saying one thing after another. You already know what the other's going to say. There's no real depth. There's no real evolution involved. And even if you make it sound to the other as if you intend to evolve, or if this is supposed to be something more in terms of the conversation that you're having, your conversations never lead anywhere except to nighttime, to the next morning, into the next day in the work routines, and then back home to have the same conversations again. And this can happen with just the woman and the man, or the woman and the man and the children. Everything just becomes about routine. It's all superficial. When you're going out on a date, you're doing that. As a man, half the time you're doing it just to placate the woman. Or as a woman, you're doing it because this is what your man's supposed to do. So you want him to take you out because you think this will make you feel good. And this is what a couple's supposed to do. So you tell him, you encourage him, or you ask him or beg him to take you out. And then you all go out and you do the date. But you're just doing the date because ultimately what you want to do is maintain a routine and maintain the illusion of some semblance of peace or happiness. But you're getting none of that. You have dinner. There'll be a few laughs, but it's just all right. You go to a movie, the movie might be incredible. But at the end of the day, you look back at it a few days, it's just all right. Ultimately, it's not some incredible memory. I'm not saying you can't have memories that don't have a certain amount of weight. But notice in a relationship, in any relationship you've been in, it's never amounted to even close to what you wanted it to be. What you had was a series of highs within a relationship. Highs and lows, until you get to a low point and you never are able to get back up from it. And because of that, the relationship ends. And then you get into another relationship, hoping for the peace and hoping for the happiness, but not being able to attain it. It's superficial because everything you're doing is a superficial attempt at peace. Whether you're watching Netflix, a superficial attempt at peace. Whether you're sitting down to eat with the family, a superficial attempt at peace. Whether you're going to the family reunion, a superficial attempt at peace. Whether you're going to the movies, whether you're going out to dinner, whether you're going to a family gathering, whether you're going to a barbecue, whether you're going swimming, whether you're taking your kids to the park or taking them to Jumping World, it's just a weak attempt at peace. You get a high, but nothing is ever, you never get to a point where it's just peace and it just flows. It never does that. Why? Because everything is built on what is lies, what is superficial, and you feel that, you intuit that deep. So you never actually are able to gain anything special in the relationship. It all feels superficial. After a while, you're just going through the motions. The high is over. You're doing it to take care of the kids. As I said, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, you don't want to give up on a relationship because you spent 2, 3, 4 years in a relationship. And you feel like you're losing a part of yourself, and you feel like you sacrificed so much yourself to do this relationship in the first place. And now you got to give it up. It's all been superficial. It's all been a lie. I mean, it must have been a lie because look where you are now. You're not happy. You're not at peace. And wasn't that the intent in the first place? If you had been happy, if you had been at peace, then there would never be a reason to have to break up. Now, would there? But the relationship ends, and then you move on to the next one. And just think about it. Just think about how often you may have been engaged in a conversation with your woman or with your man, and how it never seemed to quench that thirst you wanted for a real connection. Maybe you get glimpses of it, but you notice how there's never just that constant sense of just being in sync. Now, there may be rare cases out there, I don't deny that, but you know these are extremely few and far between. If this wasn't the case, the divorce rate wouldn't be so high. There wouldn't be so many complaints and issues with relationships in the first place. There wouldn't be all this drama surrounding this. All relationships are lacking because when a person gets into a relationship, first thing, they're not connected to their true selves because they never put in enough internal work to be connected to their true selves. So they're bringing in a false person, a false self. They're bringing in a false self into the relationship. You have two individuals bringing in two false selves, and all you're going to create as a result of that is a dilemma of falseness, a relationship of falseness. Therefore, a relationship of superficiality. And it never gets beyond the superficiality. You feel it. Your spirit feels it. Think of the conversations. Think of the BS you get involved in. Whether it has to do with the social media beef. Whether it has to do with some internal beef within the family. Whether it has to do with your mom, whether it has to do with your dad, whether it has to do with your kids, whether it has to do with some cousins, whether it has to do with the in-laws, whether it has to do with how you're going to handle the wedding, how you're going to handle everyone who's going to come, what everybody's going to think, how you're going to placate everyone. Think of all the conversations just to make sure you keep everything rolling. And what are you doing it for? When you're involved in all these conversations to keep everything moving, to keep everybody placated, to keep everybody happy, are you ever at peace? Think of every single dynamic in your relationship. Everything, all the conversations you have, all the day-to-day stuff. It's dull, it's monotonous. You know it's dull and monotonous, but you think because you have a few good highs, a few laughs, that, this relationship is it. You think because you've been together a long time, this relationship is it. You think because you've had some good sex, this relationship is it. You had a couple of bonding moments, this relationship is it. Here's a relationship that's it and not superficial. A relationship that's nothing short of, at a bare minimum, near perfect, if not perfect. It flows, and it flows, and it flows, and it flows, and it flows. You flow in the relationship. You're in sync with your partner. It's not dependent on sex, but if you have sex, the sex is incredible, and the sex stays incredible even after 6 months, even after a year, even after a couple of years, or a few years, or several years. You don't have to be concerned about the other partner cheating. You don't have to be concerned about whether you're keeping the other person satisfied. Y'all won't live in a mental world of being so concerned about whether the other person is happy or not, or whether you're unhappy or not. You will know you're at peace. Therefore, through that peace, you are happy, and you will know your partner is at peace, and therefore, they're at peace, and they're happy. You'll know it because you'll feel it, you'll intuit it. It will be a relationship that goes beyond the language, that goes beyond the bounds of language. And no one knows truly what it's like to have a relationship beyond the bounds of a language. We're talking about something that's essentially telepathic. That's what you get with an ideal relationship. But everything other than that is superficial. You're just getting involved in the same shit that every other couple you've ever heard about, whether on TV, social media, within the family, through the grapevine, has been involved in. You're getting involved in all the same drama, and you're getting involved in all the same illusions that allow you to delude yourself into thinking that you've actually achieved some semblance of happiness or peace in a relationship when you never got fucking close. And now it's time to move on to trap number 5.